So it's finally happening. What seems like a month of waiting, you're finally getting it. That's right, my opinion, my reaction, whatever you want to call it, to every single Major League Baseball stadium. All I've been seeing, I feel like, on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube comments is, where's the video on stadiums? Where's the video on stadiums? Well, it's here. So for those of you who don't know, this is going to be a video where I give you my opinion, my reaction on every MLB stadium. Some of the stadiums I've been to, some of the stadiums I've taken tours of, and then some of the stadiums we're just going off sheer visual looks that I've seen on TV and I'm seeing on Google. So if this is something you guys like to see on the channel, make sure to leave a like on this video. It's the best way to support it. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, you want to see more of it. We are growing every single day. I do appreciate the support. And make sure to get in the comment section down below. Let me know what your favorite stadium in Major League Baseball is. Now, before we do get going into this video, I need to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, which is a really cool baseball app you guys need to download. That app is called Amino, which is a mobile network of communities for every interest on the planet. The one I'm talking about today is called Grand Slam Amino. If you are a baseball fan, you need to download Grand Slam Amino right now. It has chat rooms, it has public feeds. I even like to go in there and troll saying Bryce Harper's going to sign with the Mets. It's got MLB trade rumors. If you are a baseball fan, it's your #1 place to go. One of my favorite features is the ability to make polls and ask you guys questions. I made one asking what the best stadium in Major League Baseball is, so make sure to go vote on mine. To participate on Grand Slam Amino, just click the link in the description or pinned YouTube comment and follow the prompts to download Amino for free on iOS or Android. You can download Amino by searching your app store, then searching for Grand Slam once you're in. Remember, you can find me there by searching my username, GiraffeNeckMarc. We're gonna go alphabetical order here, starting it off with Angel Stadium out in Los Angeles. Angel Stadium's actually a stadium that I have been to when I was a kid. When you walk into the stadium, there's like a concrete baseball diamond. I think it's really cool, really unique, something you don't see at a lot of stadiums. They've got the giant Angels hats. They've got these like giant baseball bats attached to the name of the stadium. So the entrance, really cool. When you walk into the stadium, it's got the rocks obviously out in the outfield. Food-wise, I don't remember there being anything unbelievable. Overall, I enjoyed my experience at this stadium. It was cool to get out there. Besides the rocks and kind of that entrance, nothing particularly unique. Overall, I like the stadium, but it's definitely not my favorite. Next up is St. Louis Cardinals Busch Stadium. I've got to say, backdrops, when you're standing at home plate, that has got to be one of the nicest backdrops in all of Major League Baseball. You get the St. Louis Arch back there, you get some buildings, I think it looks amazing. Never been to this stadium, but I really want to. Cardinals fans are some of the best in all of baseball. That atmosphere looks fantastic. Overall, I think it's very aesthetically pleasing. Like I said, I can't mention it enough, but that backdrop, especially with the St. Louis Arch, is fantastic. We have Chase Field of the Arizona Diamondbacks, a stadium that I have been to. I think I was there when I was in high school. When I was there, it was closed because it was super hot. It was like the middle of the summer, so they wanted to keep it nice and cool in there. I think I saw like the Marlins play the Diamondbacks. Giancarlo Stanton hit some absolute bombs. Obviously, Chase Field has the pool out in right field. It's got like that huge patio out in center field, which was pretty cool. I don't know, there's something about the indoor stadiums that I actually like a lot. Maybe it's like the whole climate controlled thing. Maybe it's that it's so indoors, the sound, it just gets trapped in there, is really loud. I mean, like the balls being hit off the bat was a different noise. I don't think that Chase Field is the best stadium in baseball by any means, but I did enjoy going to it and I think it's a good one. I'm gonna tell you right now that this is my favorite stadium in all of baseball. Am I biased? Of course I am. But Citi Field is such a fantastic place to watch a baseball game. First off, from the outside, you look at it, it's got like that old school feel. I think they were trying to get like Ebbets Field, Polo Grounds, give a little homage to the Brooklyn Dodgers and New York Giants. So the outside looks great. You walk into the Jackie Robinson Rotunda. It's a nice entrance. It's not super flashy, but I like it. You can walk right into like the Mets Museum, see their Hall of Fame kind of stuff. Personally, one of my favorite things about Citi Field is how open it is. You're walking around the stadium, you can pretty much see the game from anywhere. The food in Citi Field, oh, absolutely fantastic. You want a nice burger? You got Shake Shack. You want some barbecue food? They got Blue Smoke Barbecue in there. I feel like I'm doing an advertisement for Citi Field, honestly. Overall, Citi Field is my favorite stadium in baseball. Yes, I'm a Mets fan. I'm gonna have some bias here. I'm well aware. But honestly, if you're in New York, you need to go to Citi Field. It is such a fantastic stadium. Citizens Bank Park, we're going down to Philadelphia. You know, I have my thoughts and feelings on Philadelphia, but I won't bring them into this video. I went there when I was in middle school, I believe, to see a Mets-Phillies game, and it was an interesting experience. The stadium itself is fantastic. They've got like the cheesesteaks, so if you want the cheesesteaks, they got them in the stadium. I remember there being a lot of really good food options there. I don't remember the exact place that we went where we were there, but my dad like was hyping it up. We got it. It was good. Another stadium that's open. You can watch the game standing out in the outfield, just, you know, eating your food. I like stadiums that are open. I like that when you get into the concourse, you can look out and you can see the game happening. You're really not missing any of the action. So considering the stadiums in Philadelphia, It's pretty good. Comerica Park out in Detroit. This is a stadium I have not visited, and honestly, it's probably one of the last ones that I will visit. I don't think I'm going to Detroit anytime soon. When looking at Comerica Park, it looks like a nice stadium. It's one of the newer ones. It's got a very old school feel, but my biggest problem with it is it looks absolutely huge. Like, it doesn't look like you're very close to the action anywhere you sit, because around home plate there's a lot of foul territory. Now, have your opinions on that, think what you want, but in my personal opinion, I like being as close to the action as possible. And the way Comerica Park looks set up, the outfield is absolutely huge, so if you're sitting out there, good luck. But even if you're sitting behind home plate, you're still like what feels like 50-60 feet away from the action. If I'm paying that money to sit behind home plate, I want to be basically right breathing on the catcher. So I've never been to Comerica Park, but from first look, I'm not crazy about it. Coors Field in Colorado for the Rockies, a stadium I've never been to. From things that I've heard from people, it's a pretty cool stadium. Obviously, you're a mile high up in Denver, Colorado. Another stadium that has a lot of open space, something that I do like. Obviously, when you go there, you have a lot of offense, one of the best offensive stadiums in all of baseball, if not the best. I think as you get more down the lines, you get closer to the action, but similar problems, a lot of foul territory behind home plate and down the first and third baseline. I think you get towards the outfield, it's a little different. Overall, having not been there, we're just going off of glances of watching on TV and at the games. It's not a stadium that I'm dying to get to, but obviously I want to go to every stadium in Major League Baseball, so it is going to be one of the ones I hit on the list. Dodger Stadium out in LA, Chavez Ravine. Dodger Stadium is pretty bland, pretty boring. It was built in the 60s, so it is a little older. It's obviously got some history with it. You know, the Dodgers have won some World Series there. The Dodgers are one of the more historic franchises, even though not for necessarily LA, but of course you got the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then you got the LA Dodgers. A lot of great players have been in and out through there. Of course, the famous thing there is the Dodger dog, which is absolutely huge. I went there as a kid. I remember really enjoying the stadium. Like I said, it's an older stadium, so there's not a lot of newer things that like, whoa, look at all these attractions. Overall, probably just middle of the line for me. Obviously, as a baseball fan, you need to go to Dodger Stadium, but I think some of the newer parks are definitely cooler places to go, cooler places to watch a game. And if you're not there for strictly just watching a baseball game, you might get a little bored. Fenway Park out in Boston, one of the most historic baseball stadiums anywhere. Fenway Park has been open since 1912. This place is old. I went there as a kid, and I think I actually had an obstructed view seat. A lot of obstructive views in Fenway Park. Built in 1912, you can imagine that they didn't really have the best type of design yet, but it is such a historic place. There's no thrills there. You're going there to watch baseball. You've of course got the Green Monster. It's a very small stadium, so it feels very personal. I think it only has about like 35,000 seats. This is a place where if you are a baseball fan, you need to be there. You need to go to a game there. But if you're someone who gets bored easily by baseball, there's not a whole lot else for you. But for people like us who are watching videos about baseball stadiums on YouTube, Fenway Park is a sick stadium. You need to be there. Globe Life Park in Arlington for the Texas Rangers. Funny enough, this is a fairly new stadium, being built in 1994, but the Rangers are getting a new one in, I think, a couple years. I have been to this stadium. I'm a big fan of Texas. I like that state. I thought that this was a pretty cool baseball stadium. When we were there was Dollar Dog Night, which was amazing. I think me and my dad had like 10 hot dogs each. Around the home plate area, a little closed off. You kind of walk into the stadium and then you see it. But when you get to the outfield, again, nice and open. Of course, it has like the grass out in center field. You see people running around to get baseballs out there all the time. I thought it was an interesting stadium. Again, definitely not my favorite. They're getting a new one, which I'm really interested to see. Any new stadium that's coming around now, they're sick. Globe Life Park, right around the middle for me. Great American Ballpark out in Cincinnati for the Reds. As we know, this is one of the more hitter-friendly stadiums in all baseball, so chances are when you go there, you're going to be seeing some home runs. I've never been to Cincinnati. This is a stadium that I do want to go to in the future. Maybe make a little trip this summer. We hit like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, all those stadiums there. From glance, it looks like a pretty nice stadium. It's one of the newer ones, built in 2003. It's kind of got like that steamboat look out in center field, right center. But overall, I don't think it's a bad stadium by any means. I haven't been there, so I can't really give a true opinion on it. But from glances, it looks nice. Guaranteed Rate Field for the Chicago White Sox. I went to 2 games there last year. Let me tell you something. This is probably one of my least favorite stadiums I've ever been to. South side of Chicago, not a great place to have a stadium. From the outside, it's just like there's nothing unique about Guaranteed Rate Field. Now listen, I understand the White Sox colors are black and white. It's very hard to get the stadium feeling like it's a team stadium when the colors are black and white, but walking around the entire stadium, I mean, I went on the field. There's a video about it if you want to see a card in the top right hand corner. There was just absolutely nothing unique about this stadium. It was a very cold feeling stadium. Food there, I mean, there was really nothing special. It was your average food. I mean, I had a lot of time to walk around this stadium and I just didn't find anything that I particularly found cool or nice or interesting. Guaranteed Guaranteed rate field, yeah, this is towards the bottom of my list, if not the bottom. Kauffman Stadium for the Kansas City Royals, obviously, out in Kansas City. This stadium is absolutely huge. The outfield is ginormous. Some unique things that this stadium has, it has the big scoreboard out in center field with the crown on it. I think that's a nice little flair. Adds a little bit of personality, some personal touch to give it the Royals feel. They've got the fountains out in right center field, which is something for some reason that I always remember with this stadium. I don't know how much they necessarily use these fountains, but every time I think of Kauffman Stadium, I'm thinking of these fountains. Got a nice little backdrop with some trees, some foliage. Overall, looks like a nice little stadium. Never been to it, but it's one of the stadiums I'd like to go to soon. Marlins Park in Miami. I've heard a lot of really good things about the stadium itself. It's just that, well, no one shows up to there because the Marlins are terrible, and even when they were decent, they still don't have any fans. I think there's like a club out in left field. That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard in a baseball stadium. Of course, we know about the fish tanks. They used to have the big sculpture out in center field, but Derek Jeter doesn't like fun, so he got rid of that. From everything that I've heard, everything that I've seen, it looks like it's a really nice stadium. It's just that no one shows up to it, and I can't blame them because the team that they're throwing out there from last year and the team they're going to have out there this year, yeah, that's not a very entertaining team to watch. I'm sorry, Marlins fans, if there are any of you. But let me know in the comments. Marlins Park, how is it? Miller Park, the Milwaukee Brewers Stadium. One of the weirder stadiums to watch on TV. Every time I watch it and the roof is closed, it feels like it's dark. It's just like not well lit. I definitely don't like watching games on TV at this stadium. Something with the lighting is very off. When they open up the roof and they let some of the natural light in, I think it looks a lot better. But sometimes there's some weird shadows. I don't know. Miller Park's got some interesting features to it. Watching on TV, the lighting's weird, so I'd imagine the lighting's weird at the actual stadium itself. It does have the cool slide out in center field, and I'm sure it's got a lot of beer options because it is Miller Park. But definitely one of the more interesting stadiums because, again, visually on TV, not great. Minute Maid Park out in Houston. This is probably my favorite baseball stadium outside of Citi Field. I went to Minute Maid Park when it was a bad Astros team, like when Altuve was just coming up. They had JD Martinez, who wasn't anybody yet. They had Justin Maxwell. Yeah, this was the bad Astros. I love this stadium, though. You got the Crawford boxes out in left field. It's a little bit closed, I will give it that. It's got like the train out in left field, a lot of character. At the time, they still had that hill out in center field, which I was a huge fan of, but obviously it's pretty dangerous to have that. Me and my dad sat behind home plate for like $30, and we had this like climate controlled area. It had this great food. I was a huge fan of Minute Maid Park. I want to go back there. One of my favorite stadiums in all of baseball. Nationals Park out in Washington, D.C. for the Nationals. Actually a really nice stadium, one I've been to. Now, Nationals fans have a weird thing where they leave the game early because the trains don't run late enough. I don't know how that even happens. But for the stadium itself, it's really cool, especially if you come out of the train, you walk into the stadium, it's nice and open from the outfield. You've got the little thing out in left center that's like its own unique little area. A lot of different food options, a lot of different views. Backdrop of the stadium, nothing special. It's just like a bunch of buildings. It's not a cool backdrop. But overall, I did like Nationals Park when I visited it. I'll probably go back eventually sometime soon. It's a nice little stadium. Heading out on to Oakland, to the Oakland Coliseum, Rickey Henderson Field, of course, for the Oakland A's. This is a stadium I've never been to, and honestly, I don't really plan on going to it anytime soon. Probably never. One of the weirdest stadiums in all of baseball. It's a football stadium. It's a baseball stadium. What is it? You are so far away from the action if you're not sitting down the lines. Honestly, the best seats in the house might be in the outfield. If you're sitting behind home plate or sitting behind one of the dugouts, you are so far away from the field. I don't know who designed this. I know it was meant for multi-purpose, but man, what a horrible stadium. The Oakland A's, yeah. That doesn't seem like a place I want to watch baseball. Now called Oracle Park, I knew it as AT&T. We're talking about the San Francisco Giants. Never been to this stadium, but this is one of the ones that I want to go to. Everybody that talks about going there says that this is without a doubt the best stadium in all of baseball. You got the Mccovey Cove out in right field. Everybody remembers Barry Bonds hitting home runs into that. Amazing. You've got the giant baseball glove with the Coca-Cola bottle out in left field. Every single person that I've ever talked to or have ever heard of going to the stadium says it is the best stadium in all of baseball. I'm very jealous I haven't been to it yet, but I plan on it soon. And I mean, when you watch it on TV, you're just like, yeah, this is a nice stadium. Orioles Park at Camden Yards out in Baltimore, another stadium that is absolutely fantastic. A great place to watch a baseball game. They've got this like little walkway thing that you can walk through before you enter the stadium. You've got the warehouse out in right field, which adds a very nice aesthetic to the stadium. Another stadium that is super open, kind of revolutionized how baseball stadiums were being built at the time. Camden Yards was a really cool stadium, and I highly suggest going to this. This is a stadium you need to visit. Petco Park for the San Diego Padres, one of my favorite stadiums in all of baseball. baseball. I might be a little biased here because I love San Diego as a city. I'm trying to live there. But Petco Park's a really nice stadium. Obviously, you got beautiful weather, so every time you go in there, it's going to be a great time. You've got the Western Metal Supply Company out in left field. It's very open in the outfield. The last time I was there, which was I think about 3 years ago now, we sat right behind the dugout on the third baseline. We had the whole VIP suite experience. Shout out to my friend Cole. Overall, Petco Park, one of the best stadiums in all baseball. It's got a lot of positives. It's a nice stadium. You're going to San Diego, which is a great city. The team, it's on the rebuild. If they get Bryce Harper, it'll be a little more exciting. But Petco Park, awesome stadium. PNC Park in Pittsburgh, another one of these stadiums that I have only heard great things about. I've never been to it, but I need to go to it this summer. PNC Park, again, another stadium with an amazing backdrop from when you're hitting at home plate. It's got the bridge, it's got the city of Pittsburgh, it's got the river. Honestly, I said Busch Stadium might be the best. I lied. PNC Park has the best backdrop. This is a fantastic looking stadium. I need to go to this stadium. This place looks sick. Progressive Field out in Cleveland. Now, Cleveland as a city itself, boring. Not a lot going on there. I have not seen a game in the stadium. It was actually called Jacobs Field at the time, but we did take a tour. Overall, I don't think there's anything particularly great about Progressive Field. It's your standard baseball field. It does have that absolutely huge jumbotron out in left field. That's got to be the biggest one in all of baseball. But from my personal experience, I don't remember being wowed when I took the tour of the stadium. It was just cool because I love baseball. I love going to baseball stadiums. But I don't think that you need to be heading out to Cleveland to go see a game there anytime soon. You got the Rogers Center out in Toronto, a place that I have been to. As a baseball stadium, it's a little interesting because it is a dome, but you're kind of far away from the action. It has a soft spot in my heart because this is the first place where I did get a ball at a game. One really cool thing about the Rogers Center is that the hotel is like attached to the stadium, so you can actually book a room with a view of the stadium and you could technically watch the game from your room. Obviously, those rooms are a bit more expensive when there's games going on. At the time when I was there, it was all turf. Now they've given the dirt and grass infield, which is a nice change. Watching the games on TV when they were in the playoffs, obviously the atmosphere was absolutely electric. Obviously, the only team in Canada right now, Major League Baseball, so it's a cool trip there. I think it's a stadium worth going to for sure. Suntrust Park in Atlanta, the newest stadium in Major League Baseball. I have not been to it yet, but I fully plan on going to it in April when the Mets make a trip there. Another stadium that I've heard from people who have been there that it is awesome. They've got the Chop House in right field. They got a lot of food options. It's very open. It's new. But I have pretty much just heard from everyone that this is an awesome stadium to go to. Everything is really close to the action. There's not a bad seat in the house. And compared to Turner Field, which was just not a great stadium, quite the upgrade for the Braves. And hey, people actually show up to this stadium because nobody did to Turner. Another stadium with a new name this year, we're talking about T-Mobile Park, which used to, of course, be Safeco Field. I've never been to a game here, but again, another one of these stadiums that every single person that has been to it tells me is a really nice and cool stadium. Obviously, it's got the retractable roof. I don't know why, but the left field section for some reason sticks out to me with the Safeco Field sign. I just think that's a nice little cool addition. I don't know if it really adds anything or if it's even worth talking about, but I like it. Safeco Field's an interesting little stadium, one that I definitely have to go to, or I guess it's called T-Mobile Park now. But yeah, definitely a cool stadium. Target Field out in Minnesota, again, one of the newer stadiums in baseball. Something I like about Target Field is that they got this like white stone all around the stadium. I don't know what it is, but it's very aesthetically pleasing to my eye. Now, I've never been to a game here, so I can't speak about it. Minnesota's, it's a little cold there. I try to stay away from cold areas. I like the Target Field sign out in center field. It's got like the state of Minnesota shape. It's got the old school Twins logos. I can't speak on any of the food, but overall, it looks like a nice stadium. Definitely one that I do want to visit. Which leads us to Tropicana Field, which everyone knows is the worst stadium in all of baseball. First of all, the lighting in that stadium. What's going on in there? It always looks like there's fog or a haze going on. You can't tell what time it is. I get it. It's an indoor stadium. There's no windows. But the turf looks horrible. It looks like low quality turf. I heard getting to the stadiums is a mess because there's one bridge in and one bridge out, so the traffic is unbelievable, even if no one's going to the games, because, well, no one goes to the Tampa Bay Rays games. And honestly, I don't plan on going to it anytime soon. I'm waiting for the Rays to get a new stadium or move. So yeah, Tropicana Field, that's number 30 out of 30. Down to the final two here, we got Wrigley Field out in Chicago. They've made a lot of changes over the last few years, kind of updating the stadium, making it more modern. I went there when I was really young. I think I was like 7 or 8 years old. It was such an awesome experience. The ivy, the people working in the stadium were so unbelievably nice. They let me go right down to the field, take a picture. It was a great experience. Wrigley Field is definitely one of my favorite stadiums in all of baseball. It's just got that classic feel. There's so much history with it. And Barry Bonds, during BP, broke a window of a building out in the outfield out of the stadium, and then like Sammy Sosa tackled him. It was awesome. I remember running around the streets behind the stadium before the game started for BP, trying to get some balls hit out of the stadium. Overall, I just have really good memories with Wrigley Field, and I can't wait to go back. And then last but not least, we got Yankee Stadium. But a good friend of mine, Cole, I shouted him out earlier. His dad was a big shot with the Yankees and all that kind of stuff there, so we used to go to a lot of games. Yankee Stadium has gotten better because they have made it more open out in the outfield. But my biggest problem with Yankee Stadium is that it just doesn't have any character. It doesn't have any feel of history besides Monument Park. I mean, you walk into it, it's got a very cold feeling. You don't even think about going any place you're not supposed to. They will freak out. The food in Yankee Stadium, it's really good. I'll give it that. The food there is fantastic. But I mean, there's still a lot of obstructed views. You got Mohegan Sun out in center field, which just kills you if you're sitting near it. You've got the subway train if you're sitting in the outfield just running by it all the time, and that's really loud and annoying. I'm not gonna say that I hate Yankee Stadium because it's really not that bad, but for a stadium that costs like what, $1.2 billion, it is definitely not living up to that price tag. So sorry, Yankee fans, you know it, but Citi Field's better than Yankee Stadium. It's not even close. And that's gonna be it for this video on my opinion, my reaction to every single Major League Baseball stadium. I'd love to know your guys' favorite in the comment section down below. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you do want to help support the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc, links in the description. And remember to go download Amino on your iPhone or Android. Get on the baseball version Grand Slam and interact with me. Have some fun on there. It's a great app. And that's going to lead us to the end of the video. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload, so make sure you click through those, help support the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.